What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours. You're looking absolutely amazing, by the way. You amazing, amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. Nearly as amazing as my singing just then. But what a difference a day makes. So, we saw Debbie has done some interviews. And she's a mum. At the end of the day, she's a mum. There's going to be a degree of denial, which we have witnessed. That may come twofold because ultimately Jay is her son. So she doesn't want to think bad of him. She don't want his legacy to be one of criticism. And parents have an unconditional love for their children, which is understandable. But that wasn't received well. That wasn't received well. But look, what we do see now is a proportion of the interview surrounding her thoughts and feelings about what happened to Jay with respect of leaving the Airbnb. Why did he go there in the first place? Why did he go with these two men and not just simply go back with his friends? Which these are the questions that we're asking. These are the exact questions that we are asking. And it's great to see that Debbie, despite how she must be feeling, because make the bones about it, however you feel about the family, however you feel about the mum, Jay Slater is her son, and she's going to feel a certain way about it. And I think many of us were in fear that perhaps she was just willing to let this drop, that potentially there'd been maybe some leverage placed upon her to not question anything. Obviously, there is the GoFundMe sitting in the background as well, which can pose a little bit of apprehension with respect of what you come out and say, just in case you aggravate people who have donated to the GoFundMe. Perhaps they will start to request their money back. But look, it's very clear that this is not over. This situation is not over. The family are not done asking questions. We do know that there is going to be an inquest. They have had the initial hearing to basically state Jay's name, and that is going to come out. They are going to look into what happened. Now, we don't know whether it's going to be a thorough investigation and people are going to be questioned deeper, pulled forward. In the background, there seems to be some potential that Ayub Kasim has been incarcerated. I don't know the truth or the accuracy in that, but I've been sent information that would seem to point towards that being a probability. He's certainly not active on social media and certainly not trying to obtain money through, offering details about this case. So if it is true, is it to do with the Jay Slater case? Who knows? It's interesting if it is, and it's interesting equally if it isn't, because even if he is incarcerated or being held for any reason, it proves that what we'd said about him potentially turning over a new leaf, perhaps that wasn't the case, which further then raises questions as to what he was doing in Tenerife and why was Jay Slater caught up in whatever was going on out there. But there was one part of what Debbie had stated which I found quite interesting. It was towards the end of that short Sun interview. And what I'll do, I'll leave the link to the post in the description of this, just in case you haven't seen it. It's only short, it's only about 3 minutes long. But she says about Jay Slater in the direction he went. She questions about the bus. She questions about why didn't he charge his phone? If someone's offered him a charger, then what fucking teenager allows their phone to run out? It's like an extension of their being. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you've got children, you know full well what we're talking about. It's seldom do you have a teenager that their phone has been allowed to go dead. Especially if their mindset is, I'm going to walk home. The first thing that they would likely do would be to make sure that their phone was charged. That's just what they do. If they're compass mentis and there's no aggravating factors, they're not scared of anything, it's just simply as, no, I fancy going for a walk, I'm going to walk back. I'm gonna walk back. I'll get my phone charged up and I'll walk. For them to leave with their phone dead, thirsty, hungry, don't take the bus. Something doesn't sit right there. Absolutely 100% doesn't sit right. And she has alluded to the fact that, you know, like, let's have a quick look at it and then I'll come back to the point that is very important, I feel. So it says, Jay Slater's mother, Debbie Duncan, has so many questions over her son's final hours before he vanished in Tenerife, including why he got into a car with two men after a music festival. Massive, massive red flag there. Massive red flag. And something we've all said. Jay Slater's devastated mother says she would like to quiz the two men who took a teenager to their Airbnb before his death. Debbie Duncan, 56, said she could get her head around, I think that means couldn't get her head around why J19 got into a car with two older men and went to their remote Airbnb apartment after attending the NRG Music Festival in Playa de las Americas, Tenerife, June 16th. Remember, Jay's mum is going to know Jay very, very well. Better than any of us. Now, there'll be some degree of perhaps ignorance around what he is willing to do and prepared to do. For any parent who thinks they know everything that their teenager is doing, is sadly mistaken. But they are going to know what they're like with respect of risks, potentially. I don't know. The apprentice bricklayer left the holiday let apartment around 8 a.m. and called friend Lucy May Law at around 8:50 a.m. saying he was lost and dehydrated and had just 1% phone battery. His mobile last pinged in the rural Tateno Park as he attempted the perilous 11 hour to his own accommodation 25 miles away in Los Cristianos. And Debbie from Oswald Whistle, Lancashire, believed Jay could have left the apartment fearing for his safety because he would never let his phone run out of charge. The school assistant said, "Why did he leave there without charging his phone? He would always charge his phone." There are so many questions. One of the two men has been revealed to be convicted drug dealer Ayub Kasim of East London, who goes by the name Johnny Vegas. That's questionable. We're not 100% sure whether that is indeed him who is referred to as Johnny Vegas. That's questionable. While the other was an associate dubbed Rocky. Debbie wept as she said, "I don't know what he thought he was going by with these two guys. I really don't know. I can't get my head around why he just didn't go back with his own friends and with them. In our minds, we think he's not realised where he was going, and it was dark. This here, it was dark." I just think he's not even thought about or knew which direction he was going. Now, what we do know is that the sun rises at around 7:20 a.m. throughout July in Tenerife, in this area. So if their story is correct with respect of what time he left, and we're saying that the woman next door had seen him walk in the other direction, then it wouldn't have been dark at that time. So when he is actually set out to go for this walk, it ain't dark. He's going to know. He's going to see. He's going to see the terrain, and he would be able to make an educated guess that that's a bad decision to do that. But she raised a good point. Was it dark when Jay Slater left? Is that the point? Was he taken from there and taken to this Airbnb? And did he quite quickly leave there? And is the rest what we hear afterwards fabricated? Is it, in fact, that he did get taken there and he left there because he feared for something? And that's what we're going to be talking about in video 2. So keep your eyes peeled. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next one.